Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Move, brought to you by Patron Tequila. A little bit of backstory on Patron. For those of you who do or don't know, historically in the sport of cycling, there's always been a Patron in the peloton. The guy who was sort of the godfather.
That was an existing term before.
It's been around for a long time. And so, started out with Eddie Merckx and Bernard Hinault and I guess Indurain in his own quiet way, guys like Cipollini, myself. And so with this partnership with Patron Tequila, every day, just so y'all know, every day and the members who have been listening to our production meeting, they already know the Patron. Mm-hmm. We snuck it to them. If you watch the race today, it actually shouldn't be a surprise who is the Patron. So every day we'll name a Patron of the days, and you can ask yourself, who's your Patron? Right, and so we got ours, and we'll tell you in just here a little bit. Before we get to the action, let's take care of a little business. If high brew coffee was not the perfect beverage for today, I don't know what was. By the way, we almost missed the stage. It wasn't until yesterday somebody asked me what time they should come over and watch the race. I just checked the book. Turns out the race is on schedule to finish 2 hours earlier than scheduled because of the Soccer World Cup. So with high brew coffee, here we go. I mean, I had to go with the double espresso today. 2 cups of coffee in 1 can, all natural ingredients.
Yeah, we all started really, really early. And again, it's earlier for the beginning of the tour to accommodate World Cup.
Yeah.
And normally it ends around 5 p.m. In France. And so
when your alarm is set for 5:31.
Who sets their alarm for 5:31?
Well, I do.
5:30 is not right. 5:31.
I don't know. But I needed a double espresso of high brew coffee today to get me going, to try to figure out, just to get engaged on this incredibly exciting day. So thanks to the folks at High Brew for supporting the show and not sure how widely available high brew is around the country, around the world, but obviously through places like Amazon, you can
have a case of it sent to you.
6 different flavors. 2 cups of coffee per can.
It's in every place, every corner of Austin now because it's an Austin company.
That's right.
But our crew was happy to have it in the fridge in the studio this morning with the early start.
Yeah. Also brought to you today, and I didn't have it the other day at the preview show, PowerDot. I got to tell you something. This eStem system, I am obsessed with. And I told you guys in the previous show, I liked it so much, I invested in the company. Being my age, breaking down, having issues here and there, this little machine, and what you see is what you get, right? These 2 nodules, all powered by Bluetooth, the app on your phone. This thing is amazing. All different cable
What did you first purchase it for?
So
what were you addressing?
A buddy of mine who actually did the Leadville Marathon with Mitch Hall, former SEAL Team 6 guy, called me about it and said, you got to check out this product. And I said, okay, great, send one over. I always start with that, like, just send me one. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to discuss it. Just send me one. I'll try it out. So this thing lands in the FedEx, and I tested it out. It's unbelievable. I mean, when you think about old school eStem, when you went to the physio and there were cables everywhere and it was big and bulky and you couldn't take it home, couldn't take it on the road. Look, you could put this in your back pocket. Yeah. So works amazing. The folks at PowerDot, they're actually offering all of the listeners of The Move the opportunity to win 1 unit every day. And also, if you want to go buy one, they're offering our listeners 25% off. So you go to powerdot.com/themove to sign up.
There you go.
And hey, good luck.
Nice.
Let's talk about today.
Turned out to be exciting. People have such low expectations on stage 1.
Here's because what usually happens is there's usually a prologue. So these guys will have nerves for a prologue, but they're out there by themselves. We saw the nerves last year in the rain with a guy like Alejandro Valverde coming in hot and crashing, but still nerves there. But you cannot compare the nerves for 200 fresh guys, the 200 best cyclists in the world on open roads, totally fresh, competing for every corner, every roundabout, every line.
Because it's a stage 1 instead of a prologue, a lot of different guys feel like I have a shot to be in yellow today. Is
Well,
that part of it?
there's only a handful of guys that have a shot to be in yellow, and those are the sprinters. I mean, there's no
Mhm.
way on day one of the Tour de France that a breakaway goes away,
Right.
unless it's just the most extreme.
But they
scenario.
might not be a great they might be a great sprinter, but not the best time trialer, and so they go, "Wow, I could be in yellow," as opposed to just being focused on the green jersey. Am I off
No,
base? No.
no. The only one with a chance is the sprinter
Okay.
because they get 10 seconds bonus, and I mean
Yeah.
you couldn't make. There's not enough intermediate time bonuses, uh, to get that unless there was that odd breakaway, which just would not happen on a clear sunny day. But man, I love. I don't know. I thought this first week. I knew this first week. I didn't think. I knew this first week was going to be tumultuous and eventful and dramatic. I didn't know that we'd have it on day one, and already in day one. And we'll get to Fernando Gaviria with his amazing sprint, twice as fast as anybody else in the group. But let's just talk for a second about the favorites who, I have a list of the winners, right? Right. The guys who made that split, who stayed out of trouble.
We should probably just describe where the trouble came in case someone's listening to this and didn't get a chance to watch it. I mean, there were several crashes.
Didn't watch it.
But there was a crash with 10K to go. 10K to go crash split the field. What were there, 50, 60 guys?
There were 63 riders in the front.
And, that's that whole stay up front, stay safe, stay with your teammates.
Yeah, and
stay out of trouble.
Stay out of trouble, and again, we saw it, and we don't know what happened to Lawson Craddock early in the stage, but you see these crashes later on, or you see these moments where the group just has to basically stop or sit up. Chris Froome overcooked on one corner. It looked like the cameras that they had set up didn't quite capture it, but and by the way. Before we talk too much or at all about Chris Froome, I mean, we saw this in the Tour of Italy too, and this kid still came back and did it. So not to write him off, but I want to point out in the 63 guys in the front, here's the guys that were the winners of the day, right? Jacob Fuglsang, Vincenzo Nibali, Thomas Dumoulin, Geraint Thomas, Chris Froome's teammate, who's been given equal leadership, quote unquote, equal leadership, which. Okay.
Meaning whoever's having the best tour becomes the leader.
Right.
Potentially.
I think they know who their leader is, but they're allowing him the opportunity to not have to sit up.
To protect himself.
Yeah, not sit up, come back, and help Chris Froome. Roman Bardet, Alejandro Valverde, Rigoberto Urán, Dan Martin, TJ Van Garderen in the front split, and Mikkel Landa. Those are all the guys that you could say are potential top 10 guys. And then, of course, you have Chris Froome and Richie Porte losing 51 seconds and Nairo Quintana losing 1:15. I mean, that's to start. And these guys haven't got to the team time trial. They haven't got to stages 5 and 6. Mm-hmm. They haven't gotten to the cobblestones of stage 9. Man.
They always talk about first week jitters, and I imagine
it was
day
be boring today.
But it's like day one jitters too. Even though it's so far in the season, these guys have been racing all season. Being in the Tour de France, it's just everything's elevated. So what I wanted to ask you is, like, can you recollect on your very first tour and lining up at stage 1 and what that feels like to a rider? Especially the guys that are doing it for the very first time.
Yeah.
A lifelong dream.
Yeah, my first tour was in 1993. But, the difference is that I think the crowd, there were huge crowds today. So you get 200 guys all G'd up, all rested, ready to go. There's people in the road. It's just, in this group, right, compared 2018 to 1993, my first tour, it goes way faster.
By the way, how old were you in 93?
I was 21 years old.
Jeez.
Our bikes weighed 22, 23 pounds. We had, triple cross spokes for the wheels, short rims. None of this deep dish carbons, laced rims, light bikes. These guys are racing in skin suits. They're literally going 50% faster than we were. So that everything is just heightened, and add in the nerves, add in the guys are fresh, add in these people with their dogs and their kids and everybody in the road.
Technical finishes.
And then we've talked about it every year, is the difference between '93 and 2018 when it comes to traffic control, road furniture, narrowing of roads, posts, roundabouts. It's a whole other game.
Yeah, there was an area they hit where they're all on both lanes of the road, shoulder to shoulder, and there was just islands on the side that narrowed it in and then popped it back out.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they call that, but it's it's like all of a sudden 15 people wide has to become 7.
Right, and not to not to fault anybody, but for sure, we talked about this in the preview show. I mean, for sure, these guys saw this sign multiple times. So there wasn't any crashes or major crashes there, but that's what that sign's for, right? That's why they put that sign up, so that these guys know, okay, there is some sort of traffic control mechanism coming up, or just the road narrows, right?
Which, that kind of stuff, more reason to stay in the front, stay in the front, stay in the front.
Look, if you, I used to tell the guys, if we're in the tour, you keep your ass at the front. Yeah, but I got some buddies that are, I said, for these 3 weeks, you don't have any buddies. I'm your buddy. So you keep your ass at the front, and we're going to stay out of trouble, because there's nothing but bad trouble back there. And look, today was a perfect example. And even if Chris Froome was 50 deep, I mean, I wouldn't be totally uncomfortable if I was 50 back. I wouldn't want to stay there long, but that's just bad luck. That's the nature of bike racing.
So that split changes things up right away. And there were some other crashes. I mean, it was... Do you want to talk about Lawson?
Yeah. Let's talk about our homeboy Lawson.
He got a lot of TV time, but not for the best reason today.
No.
I didn't see his actual crash. They kept showing him the aftermath, and it looked horrific.
I mean, if we're set for a 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time finish, I don't know what time they start showing the race, but I wasn't going to get up any earlier than 5:31. And so as soon as I started watching, a couple hours before the finish, immediately I saw Lawson at the medical car with the races doctor, goes back, in the convertible where he can get access to wounds and make his own evaluation. But clearly a big blow on the left side of the head, and then just sitting on the bike in a way that was way too. I've ridden with Lawson thousands of miles. You don't sit like that. He doesn't sit like that. Something went on, or has gone on, with the left collarbone or left shoulder. So we don't know yet. But for him to hang in there, and he was just yo-yoing off the back. And keep in mind too that Lawson Craddock had a very, very difficult season last year. Was on an unbelievably ill-advised training program, and it just ruined him. And so he didn't. There's our host Pam, our landlord. Hi, Pam. Pam, hi. That's our landlord here in Aspen. She's gonna love this, but he had a terrible season. He was so hungry to come back and just start the tour, and for him to have this crash and to see him yo-yoing off the back, and I know what he's thinking. He's like, I just have to finish. I have to stay within the time limit, 4%. I have to finish, and then and try to make it to day 2. So for that, and for the guts and grinta that it took, grinta in Italian means just fucking guts. He is, how can he not be our patron of the day? And if he can't start tomorrow, then we need to get him a case of Patron Silver so he can.
Now, I know you probably have his cell number with you.
I do.
Have you checked in to see if he's
I've
okay?
Checked in. I'm sure he's
probably getting X-rays.
I don't know if it's sufficient to say, "Are you okay?"
I know.
It's green. It's not blue. So maybe that's a bad sign, or maybe he has his phone off. But he's our patron of the day.
Yeah,
Lawson. I mean, way to hang in there, man.
Hey, quick question about Lawson, and he was, like you said, limping with that shoulder to try to stay in the time gap. If he gets a clean bill of health, he can live to fight another day.
For sure. And he will.
And I know
He's a tough kid.
Yeah, and I know that they take a lot of liberties in the tour. My question is, somebody like that, if they miss the time gap, I mean, not the time gap, the cutoff time, does the tour ever go, okay, you can start another day? Because they know it was not because of just
Okay.
faltering. It was.
I don't want to spend 3 weeks talking about how dysfunctional cycling is.
I know.
But I'm going to tell you right now, as the most dysfunctional sport in the world, yes. So the UCI might think one thing, and ASO, the owner of the race, might think another, and where they all meet, I mean, you would think there's just a rule, and the rule's the rule, right? But yeah, this sport has proven that it can just kind of fucking do whatever it wants to do any day. Oh, well, yeah, and I'm not, whatever. But yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I ask, I mean, like, that's a great story. If Lawson gets back on the bike tomorrow, or had not made the cutoff and can get back on the bike tomorrow, that's a great story. That's good for the sport.
It is, and I don't remember the exact details of Ted King's situation in the Tour where he crashed in the team time trial and was outside of the time limit. And there was this huge uproar. I'm probably getting this completely wrong, but I don't think so. There was this huge uproar to reinstate him into the race. And at the time, Pat McQuaid was the president of the UCI, and it, went to his desk, and he said no. This is a time, and I actually texted Pat McQuaid. I was like, that's stupid. I mean, you're running for re-election. Nobody likes you at the moment. Like, why don't you show some compassion? So yes, they could have. Anyways, they didn't, and so, but they have at other times. Look, if we get to a mountain stage, one of these really, really tricky mountain stages where the time cut is low, and the action starts immediately. If the gruppetto is 50 guys big or 50 guys strong, and they're all outside of the time cut, they will put them back in the race.
Got it.
That is bullshit, I think.
But it's one of those things to point out. Until we started doing this podcast last year, it's just one of those intricacies of the Tour de France that you started pointing out, where they take liberties. I find that interesting.
Yeah. Can I talk about another? This just the liberty in this, and this. I don't know if this is taking a liberty, but it struck me because I got up this morning, and almost all of the websites that I read were focused on the reception for Chris Froome at the team presentation. So for those of y'all who've never seen or been to the team presentation, it's a big deal. I mean, they do it in an amphitheater or a theater. There's thousands and thousands of people there. It is, super fancy. There's lights, there's music, it's a big production. And so they roll out the teams, they introduce the teams, and they go in the reverse order. And all of the articles that I read were just about this unbelievably hostile reception that Chris Froome got at the team presentation, which, not surprising. I mean, I said that's going to happen, and that's going to his is going to be like that for 3 weeks. So get used to it. But they were all really focused on that. And then I started watching the race. 3 guys in the break. Johan Alfredo, this young kid, Kevin Ledenois, whose father, Ivan Ledenois, I raced with for a long time. Long story short, Johan Alfredo, here's a kid I'm watching. Everybody's clapping. Everybody's happy. Got our French guy out there, and they loving it. And here's a kid who missed 3 tests in 2012, suspended for a year. And I'm just going, hang on a second. I get it that the tallest trees get all the wind. I know that. But how are we? Is there anybody else in the race that's had to sit out a year? Well, I don't know exactly, but
I'm sure there are.
That's just, come on, people, come on. No.
I guess your point is it still continues to be discretionary at will.
Yeah.
It's no hard rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
Another thing you mentioned on a lighter note today, you much lighter. You were watching and go, oh, this is when they were starting to get into town for the sprint. You're like, this is where the radios are so important. It's not just the GC, it's the sprinters too.
Great point. Yeah, I mean, if when that field split, and it isn't within a second or two. I mean, I think it probably takes a minute for everybody to take inventory, right? Like, who's here, who's not here, who's safe, who's not safe. So either on the GC side or on the sprinter side, those guys in the front 63, and they're, all of them, the leaders and their teammates, they knew exactly. I mean, if you're Fernando Gaviria, you know which sprinters are stuck in the back, or Peter Sagan, you know who's in the back. And then if you're all the guys I just named off, you know that Chris Froome is in the back. You know that, I mean, almost immediately. So that just, if you, my point is that if you don't have the radios, then you kind of look. If it were us and we got that word immediately on the radio, it's the whole team to the front and just
drill it down,
full gas, pedal to the metal.
A bunch of guys just became a non-factor for right now. Go.
Yeah, you have to.
Was your era the first to using radios?
God. Well, look, talking about 1993, our sponsor in 1993 was Motorola, and so they were the first. We were the first team to have this primitive radio system, which allowed one guy in the group. I don't know, for you old school cycling fans, you'll remember. So in those years, Phil Anderson was our Capitaine de la Route, and he had this little mic up on his stem, so he had a button.
Oh, not on a
nope,
clipped
it was
here.
on the stem, and so you'd see him. He'd look silly as shit, but he'd lean down and like talking into his stem, and then all of us had one way, so we could listen to the team car, and we could listen to Phil talking to the team car. But that was the first version of race
instead
radio.
of everyone trying to chatter and chime in. It's between the director and one guy.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. We tried them once as an amateur. It was the biggest. They're so hard to function with. We were just trying to be cool.
Yeah. Well, and you were probably on the team with probably some race with college. Who wanted to do all the talking, knew everything. This is what we're going to do today, boys. This is Texas racing.
I'm taking off. I'll see you later.
Did I tell you what college John Corey, our homie from all this is? People are like, who? No, y'all know college, but this is what he told me one time. This fucking took the cake. I got it.
Hey, to give him some credibility right here, he just won the state time trial championships.
Oh,
just to give it some context.
No, he's lit. No, his college is strong.
Yeah.
But one time he said, and this is years ago, he says, you don't know what it's like racing in Texas. I said, no, I don't.
He said that to you?
Yeah. He says, much harder than what you do.
What?
And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? And he says, dude, you got 8 guys pulling you around. And then at the end, he was dead serious. He's like, here, it's every man for himself. Yeah, I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm like, shut up. Shut up. Anyways. Sorry, you folks are like, who's this college guy?
Well, you referenced, if people are fans and they followed, you referenced him in the early books and stuff. So a lot of people know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, one other thing that struck me today is this new setup for time bonuses. Because historically, you had time bonuses at the finish and then time bonuses for the green jersey sprints, the intermediate sprints. So now, for the first 9 stages, those intermediate sprints are not, the green jersey sprints do not have time bonuses. Now they have these special sprints, and I was looking at the profile, and, you have one intermediate sprint today, and then here, right before the finish, you have a bonus sprint. And that's the only one that has time bonuses. And it was just before the breakaway. 2 of the guys were still out there, so they took 2 of the 3. And so for the first 9 stages, that is the only place you can get intermediate time bonuses. And that's 3, 2, 1 on the day. That to me, was like, and then after stage 9, the only time bonuses are at the finish line with 10, 6, and 4.
I like the additional time bonuses. Do you? I think it makes it.
No, I mean, it's some years it makes a difference. Some years it really doesn't. And then of course, once you get past a week, it doesn't make any difference. What matters then is these guys that are competing for the green jersey and trying to get points.
While I'm going to pull up some comments, I clipped some comments from YouTube and Facebook, and while I'm getting those ready,
let's do a little more business.
Yeah, why don't you tell them about our good friends at Helix?
I want to talk about our friends at Helix, and actually, before I get to talking about Helix, just so you know that this company, I've done the testing, and when I get done here, and you loyal listeners know, I cannot wait to get out of this trailer and go ride my bike. So Robin Thurston, the CEO of Helix, is coming over. We're going to ride Independence Pass. This guy's legit. So let's introduce Helix, your destination for DNA discovery. With over 30 DNA-powered products ranging from ancestry and nutrition to fitness and beyond, Helix can help you lead a stronger and healthier life. One of the Helix products that I've tried is Geno 2.0 by National Geographic. The app gave me a custom video of my ancestral journey, told me which historical figures I could be related to, kind of scary, and even has a tool to create a, quote, Neanderthal selfie. I looked bad.
Wait a minute. Say that again. You're able to create
A
what your
Neanderthal selfie, right?
Okay.
Okay. You'd look bad too. We're all going to look bad. You can check out Geno 2.0 and other Helix DNA products at helix.com/themove, helix.com/themove. And during the Tour de France, U.S. listeners only, can get 25% off with the code MOVE25. I just want to say one other thing about this product, because this is a product that I've tried and tested, but it didn't come without some hesitation. So, and I think there's this stigma around wanting to know, right? I mean, we all have that question. We're like, well, oh my God, are they going to call me and say, you're going to get Alzheimer's, or you're going to get cancer, or you're going to, and so we all sort of pause and hesitate. It isn't like that at all. I mean, I guess if you want to take a deep dive.
No, but it puts things on your radar that you could be susceptible to and monitor, right?
JB, you'd be surprised at how many people just don't want to know.
Really?
And so I moved past that, right? And did want to know a lot of other things about my ancestry and my DNA, and it was a crazy experience.
All right, get ready to tell everybody what they might see tomorrow at Stage 2, and I'm also going to lob some comments and that I took off Facebook and YouTube and get your response on.
Yeah. So for me, a couple things stand out. I think this Peloton is still fresh. Just because they've done one day doesn't. I mean, they're still going to be fast and fresh and nervy. I think that's still going to be a factor. The thing, it's a board flat stage. There is a couple overpasses where they go and give away some KOM points, but I just think it's hilarious.
Oh.
You got to represent the sponsors.
Well, if this is your first time listening to this podcast and following the tour, you're going to find out more about Lance's feelings on the polka dot jersey.
Yeah, which let's give the best climber's jersey to the guy that's not the best climber. That'll happen, I promise you. Scout's honor. So aside from it being still pancake flat and still these guys fresh, I look at this finish and I mean. Guys, I mean, are we tying a knot here, or what's happening at this finish? And you guys, I mean, you probably
it's good for the spectators, though. You can see it go by a couple times.
I look at this. I mean, it's not a straightforward finish. I mean, again, just seeing it on paper, seeing it in the book, isn't always accurate. But this, to me, is kind of the most interesting thing. I suppose the kick up to the finish line is, if I look at the last K here, it is slightly uphill. What we saw today from a Colombian, and we always think of Colombians, they're in the front of, they're climbers, right? Little guys, and this kid Fernando Gaviria, who just kicked everybody's ass at the Tour of California. He and I, I'm not, as y'all listeners know, I don't love breaking down the sprints, but he was twice as fast. And obviously had a great team. This Quick Step team, who I said was done in the spring, they can just go on vacation, continues to be a dominant force. They've got that sprint train down.
And he handled Sagan, and Sagan had his boys there with him too.
Yeah, but Sagan tried to, the move there is if you're on the wheel, if you're on Gaviria's wheel, then you have to come out into the wind and come around him. He came out into the wind to come around him.
And came into the wind.
Came back on the wheel. So that's a guy who's twice as fast.
Wow. Cool.
Here's by the way, his first Tour de France.
Is that right?
This is his first tour.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Some comments. Now, these are comments that came in after doing the preview show just a couple the other day, and I thought you'd enjoy these. Carson writes in, Mitchelton Scott is stacked full of guys that can handle wind and cobbles. Edwin writes, look out for Dylan Groenewegen. In the sprints.
Yeah.
He was up there today.
He was up there today. He was top, I think he was 7th. Yeah, those are guys that will get their shot. They're not going to get their shot, not this year. They're not going to, again, me talking about sprinting like I know what I'm talking about, but between Gaviria and Sagan, and they're on another level. The Groenewegens of the world have to wait. They got to wait until people get tired or crash or get sick and go home or whatever. Not in the first week.
Joseph writes in, I think the cobbles are a bad idea. Just look at the time gaps in the classics and the crashes.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that think that, and there's also probably some guys like Vincenzo Nibali and Tom Dumoulin who have the power and the team to stay up front that think they're a good idea. So, look, it's sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and we shall see. I've heard all sides of that argument. I mean, the Bernard Hinault would tell you that if you're going to do the Tour de France, well, where are the cobblestones?
You got to put him.
I mean,
it's a signature part of it.
But then there are also people that say that it affects the race too much and too early. So I can see both sides. I always got through them. I shouldn't say I always got through them. 2010. Oh, God.
And there were a lot of comments from the Froome lovers, so I thought I'd lob one at you. Rickard Erickson writes, Froome will smash it completely. Wake up, Lance.
That's all right. Hey, look, I'm always wrong. So, fuck. I'm only right twice a day, just like a broken clock. So, you may be right. And
to his credit, we were both kind of impressed at how fast Froome must have tumbled and got back up today.
He got up quick, and I'm not right. Look, I am. People think if you think I'm a Froome hater, you're wrong. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a fanboy, but I certainly respect him, and you cannot not acknowledge his palmares, his record in cycling. And so, don't be thinking I'm hating on Chris Froome. I just don't pick him, yeah. and I'm not picking him, and I'm glad I didn't pick him.
Yeah,
but I'm sure he's a great guy, and he's been a badass bike racer, and he got up quick today, and he lost time and crashed in the Tour of Italy, and we saw what he did. So if anybody at home, forget the fanboys and the neutrals, is writing him off, you're crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, you're crazy. Can I just read one email that I got the other day?
Yeah, go for it.
Because if y'all listen to the preview show, you heard 10-year-old Tori from Santa Fe go grab the mic and ask a question, and her question was, what do you eat for breakfast at the tour? And I told her blah blah blah, and so we wanted to have her on, and so she books it to the afterwards, like people lined up for photos and stuff. She's just there. She's like, "Give me your number." I said, "Excuse me."
This girl's 10 years old.
10 years old. She's like, "Just give me. I'll call you. I'll set this up." And I was like, "Tori,
that's a girl. That's a young woman going places.
Slow your roll." I said, "But how about I give you my email?"
There you go.
She's like, "Okay." So
did she send you an email?
She sends me an email. Sends me an email 2 days ago. Well, she sends me an email oh my God, no, the day we got back. She says, "Hi Lance, it's Tori from the Santa Fe podcast. I hope you're enjoying your stay in Aspen. I'm using my mom's email. If you have time, you can write me back, but you don't have to. If you come back to Santa Fe and you bring your kids, we have a trampoline and a play structure, so they are more than welcome to come and play. We can go to the pool and bike to the plaza if you want. Hope to see you soon on the podcast."
Oh, that's
Tori.
cute.
So, I mean, that's just amazing. So I wrote her back, "Hi, Tori." I said, "Thanks for coming out to the move yesterday. We had so much fun." Oh, crap, I forgot to say fun. I said, "We had so much." I meant to say, "We had so much fun.
We had so much alcohol.
And we made it home to Aspen in time before it was too dark to land." I said, "My kids love trampolines. We surprised them with one when they got back from summer camp in Minnesota a couple weeks ago. They freaked out. I call them little stinkers because they are. Let's keep in touch and have you call into the show at some point. Take care. LA. P.S. I don't like spaghetti anymore." And she hasn't written me back. She's just darked me.
Well, it's her mom's email.
Whatever.
It's her mom's email. So mom's navigating that.
Yeah.
You know how that goes. Kids don't do email.
Okay.
That's primitive.
Tori does.
Tori does. She had to use her mom. She wouldn't even go set one up. That's funny. I love that. Well, cool. That wraps it up for today. And our members, by the way, got to see some pre-show, which is pretty cool. If that interests you, go to WEDÖ.team and check it out, because we sat here and watched the last 20K, and it's pretty entertaining to watch Lance watch a stage at the finish if you've never seen it. Are you that way at like movies, or do you always talk to the TV or the screen, or is it just in the tour?
No, not. We took the kids to see Incredibles 2 yesterday, which for y'all at home, it was pretty good. No, I sat down the whole time. But yeah, no, days like this where there's action and you guys were setting up cameras yesterday, it's like you realize that if something happens, I am going to be moving around here.
Yeah.
And So that's for y'all listening. I mean, we bring you into the studio, members only, to watch, and not just video but audio as well. So you hear
You hear the comments.
Yeah. So as this tour goes on and George Hincapie makes it to town and sits in, we're just going to be sitting here shooting the shit and watching the race and giving you our perspective. Of course, you guys are going to watch NBC or whatever channel you watch, whatever country you're in. But this is just your opportunity to sit here and kind of sit in with us. And then after that, then you and me sit here and talk about just what the heck we're going to talk about on this show. And then we go boom, and we go live. We go live to the move, brought to you by Patron Tequila.
Yeah, if that interests you, seeing that, again, go to WEDÖ.team and check out all the new stuff.
So it's on the site, on
Pass.
Season Pass,
Yeah.
right? So that gives you your full, and that's not just for the 3 weeks. That's the Season Pass for a full year.
And lots of new gear in there, too. Lots of really cool new gear in there.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Cool, man.
All right. Exciting day. I look forward to, last thing, if this is any, have I talked about how excited I was to watch this tour?
I know you are. You're more excited than last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if this is any indication, then we are in, forget the World Cup, forget Wimbledon, forget whatever you're doing. We're going to have an exciting month. Thanks for tuning in.